Okay, we're back. This is part 5. Can you believe it? I can't believe that I've made 5 videos, each 10 minutes. That means I've been talking for 50 minutes about this topic. If I was talking about that, I can't believe that it would have taken 50 minutes to talk about this. So it's interesting to see how that kind of played out. Okay, if you haven't seen part 4 and you want to learn about how to identify insecurities, go back and just start part 4. But ideally, if you want to learn about everything I was talking about today in these 5 parts, just go back to part 1. So I'm not going to reiterate what I said in part 4 about how I made disclaimers. I haven't figured it all out. This is just some nuggets of information. So I just read for y'all in part 4 about the definition of insecurity and what is an insecure person. Okay, that was on the internet. Now here is my life experience and my nuggets to share. Okay, so how to identify insecurity. So and I'm talking about identifying. So like when someone is a bully, that is an extreme case of an insecure person. So recognize bullying is a major sign of insecurity. So bullying can come from a parent, a sibling, a boss, a friend, a so-called friend, a stranger. People can be strangers and they can bully you, like in a public environment or at the coffee shop or whatever. You're getting a coffee and you're feeling bullied. So when people feel insecure or inferior inside of themselves, they have what I call the mean dog syndrome. And that's when dogs are fearful and feel insecure and unsafe, they're aggressive. So just remember when you see aggression, so really we're going to call this number 1, aggression. Because bullying is a sign of aggression. So when you see a person who's aggressive, and that's different from assertive, you should identify the two definitions. A lot of times people interchange those words and they don't mean the same thing. A person who's necessarily assertive is not always aggressive. You can be an aggressive, assertive person, but assertiveness is not aggression. And a lot of people can perceive it as aggression. So it just depends on how you're asserting yourself. What's the energy behind the assertion? So aggression is different. That's negative energy, negative intention. That's all aggression. So people act aggressive when their heart, mind, and soul are coming from fear. So that's what creates a bully. That's how you identify people's behavior is aggressive, identify they're coming from fear. And then you can operate and choose how you want to address that situation and that person. So when people are projecting and accusing you of something, you just need to check in with yourself and ask yourself, is that person, first you have to ask yourself, do I feel like what that person's accusing me of? How do I feel about that person? Like, am I coming from a place of love or fear? And if they're projecting themselves and their fears onto you because they have them inside of them, that's a sign of insecurity. When people project onto other people their negative energy and or accusations, or accusations is just a good word, or labels. That's another good one. If someone's labeling you something, you just have to ask yourself, do I feel that way? Does that sound like it resonates for me? If the answer is no, and you're like, no, I love this person, or I care about this person, I'm not feeling that way, then that's their insecurity that they're projecting onto you. And so you just have to know that let them keep that to work on in their own lives. You don't always have to identify that in the moment, because that can create an argument, but you can be aware of it in your sense of self and how you handle their projection. Okay. So number 3, are the people in your life, your loved ones, the people that your friends and your loved ones and the people that you spend time and invest in, are they supportive or not? And sometimes if they're not supportive, that is just a sign that they don't understand or believe what you understand or believe. So that's where when your confidence has to kick in and say, okay, I don't need their support. I don't need their external validation for me to feel good about this decision. It's always nice. It's nice when you have confident people in your life who are comfortable supporting you in your truth and what it is that you want to happen in your life. But if they're not supportive and affirming of you, oftentimes it's because it's their own fears and their own insecurities that live within them that's blocking them from wanting to be joyful and happy with your situation and what's good in your life, and how they can't be a cheerleader for you because they don't have it within themselves. They don't feel good in themselves, and that's what's causing the block from supporting others and being happy and joyful of others. These other ones are just a list, and I'm going to try to wrap them up. I've got 3 minutes. So if people are showing signs of jealousy, people who are, consistently irritated, if they're showing signs of irritation, if they're showing signs of self-doubt, if they're showing signs of procrastination, if they're worrying a lot, that comes from fear. You worry a lot. That's a sign of insecurity. Not being able to communicate your truth, that is a big one. When people have a hard time communicating their truth to others, that's a huge sign of insecurity and a block. And number 10, not doing what you say you are going to do and or communicating it truthfully if you can't. So I said in the previous video that confidence comes from doing what you say you're going to do, and then if you can't, communicating properly, truthfully why you can't do it. And then I have 3 more. People who hide and they're secretive, and they are just constantly hiding things, and they feel like they have to be secretive and protective. That's a big sign of insecurity. People who are confident have freedom, and so people who are insecure they don't have a sense of feeling inside of them of freedom and relax to be comfortable sharing who they are and their truth. They have to hide and they have to be secretive. And then just overall, when you see people who are, this is obvious, but I'm going to end it on this one because I could probably go on, but I'm just going to keep it to, I think it was 13 things. So when you see people who are just not confident, you can just recognize that that's just a sign of their fears that they live with, and that's they are feeling insecure in that one area. And like I said, give people grace. You can just be insecure in one topic or 2 topics or 3 topics. It doesn't mean your whole life is a walking insecurity. That's why you want to invest and have time and attention put on how to build up your self-confidence so that you don't walk around this world being a landmine for people to constantly be triggering you because of your insecurities. And Deion Sanders, the NFL player, said, "Don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurity." I love that. Don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. Bye, y'all. That's the end.